Hello, hello. It is not the usual time when we go live. I'm trying something a little new. The schedule is probably going to change on me personally, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay up streaming till midnight as often. But I thought it was Wednesday. It's new comic book day. Potentially people have picked up some new things to read. Maybe it's just the middle of your day, whatever time it is. I'm not sure where you are, and you just want to take a little break and chat some comics. And it's a cold day here, so I don't want to leave my house. So the ones that I have picked up and read have been the ones that I'm picking up digitally. But perhaps you've made it out. And if so, I'd love to hear what you're interested in, what you're gonna get, what you're reading, all of that good stuff. Because it's the middle of the day, I even have some slides to put onto the screen to show some of the things. And also, I thought it would be good to go over just some light news that's been out there, especially because there's been some more information about that Gwenpool panel that was making the rounds of, or actually Gwen Stacy of resurrected Gwen, but that's actually for a Gwenpool series. You see, I was just spilled it all out there, but there is some new things that are coming out, and so why not go over and read some of them? Jeff Lemire's newsletter has a bunch of information about Absolute Flash over on Substack. So just a chill, lazy Wednesday to, talk about some comics. Hi, how are you? Let me catch up with all of you. Hello, Astro Bubbles. Haven't y'all spoken about power fantasy at all on the channel yet? We have not. And that is one of the things I picked up, but I have not gotten the chance to read it yet. So far, of the things that come to me digitally, because I'm pre subscribed to them or what have you, it's been Zatanna and New Gods have been the ones that I've had time to check out so far. And I have to say, I'm loving Zatanna number one. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So, so gorgeous. I have some panels from that. And the story so far, like it seems to be setting up something quick and fun. We'll see how it goes. It's Jamal Campbell doing the writing and the art, and just some of the ways the panels are set up and laid out. It's just so fun to go through visually that it's definitely something that I'm going to have to keep up with personally. And if you're a fan of Zatanna, I think it might be something that's up your alley. So I have some to the stage. This is the main cover. As one can imagine, for something like this, there are so many to choose from. This is one of those ones that has a ton of variants, as you can imagine. But I also grabbed some of the interior stuff just to show you some of what's going on with the layout here. So this is from the after the first page, which has this little fairy tale setup that's gonna play into it thematically, most likely. You get to see this nice big panel of some of her history and her thinking about and her father and just joining the Justice League. And it's just so nice because Jamal Campbell is an artist. You can see that so much of that is going into how the story is being told. And so the way that the panels drive you through the action, I find is very well done throughout this. And that just makes it very fun to read. So far, it's been a fun reading experience, one issue in. I'm actually contemplating doing an entire video on it. I wasn't sure if I was going to or not. It's a mini so far. We'll see. If things sell well, they end up not being minis anymore, but this is one of those ones that's coming out as a mini so far. I have another one. Yeah, I know. James Hill is saying we have slides. I do. I know it's so rare. That's one of the nice things about the middle of the day. I think I like having some time to prepare actual extra material. Although it does make me feel very teacher-like. It's like, now class, let's look at our Zatanna slides. Remember it for the test later. This is another one. This is just a nice example of the way things flow and how you're having her demonstrating the magic trick and it's showing up on all of these pictures behind. There's a lot of really fun homages to different old like film styles and stuff because the villain in this, the Lady White, going through all of the different eras. So it's just cool. There were some I wanted to grab, some of my favorites, but they were kind of spoilery. And I was like, it just came out today. only a few hours ago. I gotta calm down. I've already got the reputation for some people as the spoiler queen, so we'll wait a little bit. But have any of you picked this up? Is this something that's been on your radar? Do you like how this looks? Are there any of the other kind of mini titles that you're more into? This is one of the ones just because I enjoy tracking Zatanna as a character and keeping up with what's going on with her. And she also gives me a chance because I like to kind of dress sort of themed for the video sometimes to pull out some of the odder blouses that have gone into the collection over the years. But like, now is the time for that one weird blouse that doesn't connect and has a giant brooch on the neck. So, King of New York is saying, I picked it up. This was a heavy week. Oh, what else did you get? A lot did come out this week. Yeah, this is a decent week in terms of things that have come out for people for sure. The other one that I'm reading ongoing. Oh yeah, I love that scene, Daniel. I won't pull it up. That was one of the scenes where it's like I love everything about what's happening. Is New Gods. New Gods is one. This is for issue 3 that I haven't had the chance to talk about as of yet, but this is a really good fit for Rom V because of all of the cosmic level stuff and the world building and lore and the entities, and that's a lot of the things he plays with in his own work anyway. And so it does just feel bigger and grander, and that really works for the New Gods. Plus, this issue really got to spend a lot of time with the chronicler and some of the outside stuff outside of Scott and Barta and the baby and cuteness and that kind of stuff. I have some of those too, because I just need to show you. Just look at that. Look at that. It's so nice. And then you have the 2 different art styles, because as you can see there on the screen, that's also why I picked this one, so that you can see the 2 artists. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know how small this is or is not for you. But we have Evan Kagel on the present day sequence. They're nice. They tell you what it is. That's such a little thing. But there are some books where they don't tell you. And then we have Riccardo Federici on the chronicler sequence. And it's just really nice to look at. Here, I'll show you some of the chronicler sequence so you can see. There we go. And so you have that kind of primordial vibe going on, just that darkness that makes it feel a little bit eerie, which is just fun in my opinion. It's just been interesting to read so far. What do you all think of it if you're reading it? I see Anima saying the New Gods is so funky. I see Thurston saying picked up today's Wonder Woman. Yeah, there was a lot of things. Connor is saying, I love that Scott and Barta's daughter is named Live Free. So do I. Just you got to keep the puns going. Like keep it going generationally. What other puns can they get for their children? Oh. So there's some things I haven't had a chance to check out yet, like World's Finest is something that I'm looking forward to reading later on. Also, Batman and Robin Year 1, I think we're on issue 5. So just a bunch of stuff, a bunch of things. Alcidre, thank you very much. I'm reading Fables. Thanks for the recommendation. Oh, I hope that means that you're enjoying it. No, I like talking about just the various things that are out there. It's always fun to venture outside of the big 2 just because there are so many other things, especially right now. There's a lot going on right now. There were a couple of things I want to talk about, but the embargoes got pushed down. So I'm like, well, we'll have to come back and talk about some of those later. I'm seeing some of your pun names. I like Born Free from Catholics, but I don't know if Born passes as well as a standard first name like Scott or Liv does. And as for Tyler asking thoughts on Skybound's Transformers, I haven't been keeping up with it. I get asked that a lot in terms of like Energon things. It's not, I wouldn't say it's not for me because I haven't been keeping up with it, but it's not something that I gravitate towards. Ooh, Ben Chan, but you did it. Bjorn Free. Nice. That's very good. I like that. That works on a couple of levels. Oh, you're always so good at coming up with the various names in the chat for whatever we're talking about. So I also, as I mentioned, have some of the announcements, just a couple, because it hasn't been the hugest news heavy week so far. It's only actually I was like it's only Wednesday and that's halfway through. So we're running out of time if there's going to be anything dramatic. Hopefully dramatic good, not dramatic bad. But I've got a couple of things, so I thought I would pull up the Gwen Stacy one first. I have the official press release just because why not? And there are far less ads on that page, even though now I've upgraded. For those of you who have watched this channel for a while, you know that I didn't normally have ad block, but I cracked and now I have ad block. I couldn't take it anymore. I kept having to go to some of the sites like Bleeding Cool and stuff, and the ads, they've just been multiplying. It was too much. So now we don't have to look at the ads anymore. And some of the sites, they don't like that. They get the little, like, turn it off, please. So let's take a look at Gwen. Let me pull this up on the side. There we go. Oh, we're in for it right away from the title. There we go. Off to the side. You want to see it bigger than that. There we go. Gwen Stacy is back, and she's here to slay in a new comic book series. So we have this May, Kevin Scott and Stefano Nessi launch a new Gwenpool comic book series that introduces a twisted new take on the fan favorite hero. It's been a while since we've seen Gwenpool, hasn't it? I remember doing videos on her miniseries years ago. I think maybe it's been 4 years at this point. Craig Anderson, thank you very much. Out of the Absolute series, which is your favorite so far? Because there's more coming very soon. I love Absolute Superman because of the world building. Also, I love your content. Hashtag nerds rule. Thank you very much. So far, my favorite is still Absolute Batman. It's just the one that I have the most fun with. But I enjoy all of them for different reasons. And next month, we're going to be doing catch ups like we did with Ultimate Spider-Man. So I'm really looking forward to doing that and discussing it again because it's been too long, but there are, as always, so many things to talk about. All right, so let's dramatic. Her death is the most heart-wrenching moment in comic book history. Her return will be the most outrageous. Teased last week, prepare for the unthinkable with the resurrection of Gwen Stacy. Here we go. Gwenpool is back and more dangerous than ever. Everyone's favorite reality twister's life is changing. A grittier doppelganger is bringing her own brand of hyper-violent justice to a battle-strewn New York City. Who is this dark Gwenpool? And what does she want with the Amazing Spider-Man, Kate Bishop, and Jeff the Landshark, who's having a moment, guest star in a comic series that will shock you to your core? So prepare to be shocked. You heard it here first. You're going to be shocked. We've got heads coming off on the cover, so you know that it's serious business. All right, so we have some quotes here from Kevin Scott on resurrecting Gwen, saying, "What an absolute honor to tear both Gwenpool and Spider-Man's worlds apart. Yes, please. Gwen Stacy is back from the grave and deadlier than ever. Weapon X-style abilities? Check. A line and killer put-downs? You've got it." The quote is still going. This is not the Gwen you remember, but just who is behind her miraculous resurrection? And what has happened to the original Gwenpool's usually careful existence? Add Kate Bishop and Jeff the Landshark to the mix, and you have the Marvel series of my dreams. So, what do we think? What do we feel? Ben Janice, I blame Paul. That's his shuffle. Oh. So then they talk a bit about, of course, the art and the colors. Mega violence has never been so much fun. Each frenzied attack brought to dark, brooding life by Matt Mia's blistering colors. Monsters, mayhem, and murder await as Spider-Man and Kate learn that nothing or no one is sacred. So, is this something that sounds interesting to you? I see some of you are like, no, thank you. Patrick is saying, what if she kills Paul? All of you, every time, even if the conversation isn't about Paul, the Paul hate will be legendary in comic book history years later when people come to re-examine Paul. And I'm telling you, it's coming. Common sense. Thank you very much. I blame DC for rejecting Kevin Scott's Hawkman and Hawkwoman. The changeling Hawkman and Hawkwoman having a son is a better idea than Gwen alive again. I would agree that that does sound like something, to me at least, that'd be more interesting than more Gwen. But I know with Gwen, you have some of the, we actually were about to see some of the variants that they can pull up. So let's go look at them. So this is what we're looking at. This is the one that made the rounds and ended up being posted on my community page where the person was like, "Oh no, we're cooked." So we have that one. This one's trying to be edgy and it's low key appealing to the 90s child. I mean, I'm like, yeah. Then we have this one and the main one. So I see that for you so far in the chat here today, that this is not something that you are greatly anticipating. We'll have to see, as with anything, how it plays out. Gwenpool's another character who I low key keep track of. So that's another thing where I'm like, I'll at least probably give the first issue a read, a look, just to see what's going on and keep up to be in the loop. I need to know. They got me with the FOMO. Let's see. Carlos, thank you very much. I've been loving New Gods and Detective Comics by Rom V. What other Rom V comics do you recommend? Please no Gwen anything for a while. I would definitely recommend Rare Flavors. I think Rare Flavors is a lot of fun, especially if you're enjoying New Gods, because it's playing in some of the same things, but even more overtly in terms of the Hindu mythology. And there's also lots of connective history with the food, and there's recipes and how they link to your culture and the heritage and how important that is. So I think that one is also really, really good. I read that one recently. There is, I want to make sure I say it right. If it's, I'm trying to remember if it's blue and green. So let me make sure that I have that right because I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, it's blue and green, which is this horror-esque comic about this musician who's given up on music and his father dies and he has to come home and confront the legacy and the history. And it's just a really trippy kind of work that's also trying to be musical in its presentation through the visuals. And it's very unique. And I don't feel like people talk about that one enough. I think it's pretty interesting. It was one of those ones when I was flirting with doing a Halloween style video where it was more horror comics. That one would probably have made the list just because I think it's so interesting. I see some people are recommending The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, which is also really solid. Yeah, there's a lot of choices, out there. There's the combo one with the one hand and six fingers, which was the sci-fi work that I thought was really interesting as well. I talked about it on a recent stream, and I have the compound trade coming to me hopefully soon. Hopefully very soon. So, do we want to hear next about Mr. Terrific or Absolute Flash? Which intrigues you more? Because I have a couple of other new announcements to go through that we can do some reading. Oh no, Tonks Moriarty is saying made it to my LCS just in time. Only one comic was available for my pulls. There was supposed to be 3. Which ones were missing? Tyler Preston, thank you very much. Cursed panel idea, Geisha Punisher from Marvel's Mangaverse. I need to do another cursed panels soon. Those are always so fun. Those are some of my favorite videos to do just because it's always so great how the context in many cases just makes them odder. There's always so much of a story behind them. I haven't done one yet where it's been, oh, this was just a panel that happened. There's always something more. I'm seeing a bunch of you say, Absolute Flash. Oh, it's almost equal, though. It's almost equal in term well, we're definitely gonna do both. Since I'm absolute Mr. Terrific, they'll give them time. They haven't gotten there yet. Okay, I think Mr. Terrific might be, I was about to say might be, edging out, and I was like, "Oh, the phrasing on the internet, can't say that anymore." Oh, Tonks is saying it's supposed to be Flash Gordon and the Terminator. Ooh, Flash Gordon is one that I also need to read, later as well. I've been enjoying Flash Gordon so far as it's been going. All right. I have this one's closer. This tab is slightly closer. So it's pretty much equal. So I'm gonna go with the Flash. There wasn't enough pulling in one direction. This tab was slightly closer. All right. Let's put this tab up. Boom. There we go. This is from Jeff Lemire's Substack. He has a newsletter over there. It's worth checking out. There are a lot of people who have very decent Substacks. They're just quietly ongoing because there was that big flare up of everybody going to Substack and then it kind of died down. Some have forgotten that Substack is a place where people are posting things, but there are a lot of people who post fairly regularly and you can get actually a lot of information about what they're doing pretty candidly on Substack. So this is one of those. This is actually going over a bunch of the frequently asked questions about Absolute Flash, which is coming on March 19th with this bolded so that you know. So we have is Absolute Flash a limited series or an ongoing? And the answer is Absolute Flash is very much an ongoing. I'm plotting issues 12 to 24 now. It is nice to hear that the plan is for things to keep going. So I love big numbers. I love when things are getting up into it's been 100 and something issues. It just feels like you're part of something like, yes, it's been literally years. It just feels very rewarding. And I don't know, I enjoy digging back through things and they tell you, you need to check out issue like 247 and 269, which are on my mind because I'm thinking about the Uncanny X-Men issues that I was talking about for the Rogue video that went up today. It was a lot of going through classic X-Men stories. And some of them I didn't even get to talk to because I tracked a whole thing through the Siege Perilous and I was like, this will derail the video. But it was fun to reread these. So the next question is, will all the Absolute books eventually connect? The answer is yes. Scott, Kelly, Jason, Denis, Al, and myself meet every other week virtually to plan out the larger Absolute universe. We are thinking far ahead, and there is a plan in place for these characters to eventually connect. We don't want to rush anything. Please don't. And we want to make these eventual I guess it should be meetings, matter. I will say that the first seeds of a bigger connection between titles happens at the end of Absolute Flash #1. And that leads into the free comic book day story that I wrote, where we see all the Absolute characters between the same cover for the first time. We have a punch shattering. Is that that's not Superboy Prime punch in the wall. But we have a nice glass shattering wall punch, a tradition over at DC. I mean, how will you change things in the canon if you don't punch a wall angrily? Is he Kid Flash or is he the Flash? Wally is the Flash. There is no Kid Flash in this universe. There are no other Flashes before Wally. He is a teenager, but he is very much the Flash. What about Barry Allen and Jay Garrick? Because again, depending upon when you came into comics, like who your Flash is could be different because there's a very solid Wally era, which is definitely the era that I hail from. But then because you had the New 52, which brought Barry back to the fore, there's also people who have a very strong, even modern Barry era. So you're going to get different, different people who want to see different Flashes. Also, I really love this image for him. All right, we have what about Barry, Allen, and Jay Garrick? Barry is in issue #1. Can't say more yet. And Jay, wait and see. I love Jay. Let's put Jay in there somehow. Yeah, he does look a bit like Impulse. This is from Dan Panosian. I like it a lot. I think I like the lines emanating out. It's giving it a kind of cool vibe. So we get to see some of the look over here. How are you feeling about the look and the goggles and stuff like that? Oh, that one's fun. Again, you're gonna have lots of covers to choose from. And this is an homage cover. This is an homage to one of the classic, Julia Schwartz era covers where you had the cover and then the story would be derived from it. This one's just I like this one a lot and the original one too because you can just make up whatever you want for this. Anything could be inside a comic with a cover like this. All right, so there we go. Isn't that just a nice, like, succinct update? This is a good Substack. I like Tales from the Farm. I read a decent amount of Substacks, so it's just interesting. It's a good way to check out what people are saying, and usually a lot more chill than going to some place like Blue Sky or Twitter/X, which I very rarely go on, only to post that I've posted something. It's like, "Post and get out." So ChemDog is saying too many covers. Is it too many because you're interested in too many, or too many just because there don't need to be that many at all? Dante Cook is saying it makes sense that all flashes should be wearing goggles. Yeah, your eyes. Think about the speed. Oh. I'm seeing Llama saying very red. Interesting redesign. I'm hoping to get some more info about the Green Lantern one. I'm intrigued by the Green Lantern just because I've been enjoying Mainverse Green Lantern a decent amount. This one's supposed to do some different lore things. I'm like, give me a question, answer, reply like that. But for Green Lantern, I mentioned on the last stream that that was one of the books that I had read and really enjoyed, the Green Lantern core. And if you like Blackfire, there's a Blackfire sighting in there. Vasco is saying a little too red. It's too much red for some. Too warm. ChemDog is answering the question about too many covers, saying too many choices can mess you up. When I do go in and get something physical, I'm like, whatever is there. Whatever is there is the one that's happening. Whatever is there, whatever is closest. And if I don't have to ask anybody to reach for it or anything, then that's the one I'm getting. If I have to ask somebody for it, it's going to be whichever cover is closer. Talking to people that aren't online. No, thank you. Ben Chan is saying thirsty Blackfire. You mean, yeah, Blackfire was very thirsty for Jon Stewart. Actually, also at the end of the issue, just people are thirsty for Jon Stewart in the Green Lantern core book. And I'm sure some of you will be like, as they should be. This, whichever is the cheapest, ChemDog is saying for covers. That's fair too, because some of them, they can get up there, especially depending on the issue. You could go back to some of that 90s style, like it's polybagged, it's a foil variant, but we haven't gone holographic so far. That would be a real throwback. It's holographic foil. So we have also Mr. Terrific. Let's pull that one up. And boop. All right, this is over on the announcement on Adventures in Poor Taste. And this is for Mr. Terrific Year 1, which some are surprised by, but I wasn't too surprised by it because they're doing the kind of synergy, the tie-in, because we're doing the Summer of Superman. Mr. Terrific's going to be in the James Gunn movie. So they're really trying to, they're not doing the everything needs to be the same as that verse, but they're trying to have a Mr. Terrific comic. So if you go and you like him, you can pick something up, which I think is a smart decision. Ben Chan, thank you very much, is asking, John/Hawkwoman in comics, yay or nay? I'm not as down for it in comics as I am in the DCAU. In the DCAU, it's like, yeah, ride or die. But in the comics, because they just have different histories, not quite so much. But what about everybody else? Like, I'm not anti it or anything, but it doesn't have the same kind of feeling as the DCAU. So what about for everybody else? I still remember the episode from the DCAU. I forget the name of it, but it's where the Joker is there and they fight the Royal Flush Gang, and you get to see her face for the first time after he takes off her helmet, and that scene, it's so dramatic. The infamous Mike Manhattan is asking which Hawkwoman. Fair. Let's scroll down a tiny bit. More dramatic reading. DC Comics has announced Mr. Terrific Year 1 for May of 2025, written by Al Letson with art by Valentin Delandro, with colors by Marisa Louise, and then we have letters by Lucas Gattoni. All right, so here's what we have about Letson saying about the series. Valentin and I are diving deep and telling the origin story of who Mr. Terrific is as a man and as a superhero. I've loved Valentin's work for years, and working on the series has been a dream. I can't wait for fans to see what we're cooking up. I hope they are cooking. There's some current terminology there. I feel like everybody says that it's a dream currently. That's one of those statements. It's like a dream. Life is like a dream sometimes. So, what's Mr. Terrific Year 1 about? A genius-level inventor and Olympic champion, Michael Holt's life was destined for greatness, but that life came to a screeching halt when his wife Paula and unborn son were killed in a car accident. The Holts once shared ambitious dreams of using their technology to help others, but after the tragedy, Michael retreats from society, selling Holt Industries to mysterious and craven tech billionaire Athena Prescott. Surrendering his dream sets off an explosive chain of events, taking the exceptionally intelligent Holt from the depths of despair to the heights of heroism as Mr. Terrific. So that's what they're doing. I remember the Mr. Terrific changeover when the original Mr. Terrific meets him on the bridge when he's about to kill himself because of the death of his wife and unborn child. There's a lot of deep pathos there because of how and why that death happened that I think is quite profound and a bit unique, and it really went to some spaces that not everybody goes to with in regards to religion and faith and crises of it, and him questioning his atheism against his wife's faith and feeling that it was his fault. There's just so much stuff going on there. I'm curious to see what Mr. Terrific Year 1 is like, because there is just a lot of depth to there is a lot of depth to Mr. Terrific. He's a lot more going on than people think when they see the T on the face and the like, but there's a lot there. So, I'm curious though. Are you interested? When you saw there was a Mr. Terrific Year 1 series, what was your initial reaction? Was it yay or was it nay? Was it just confusion? So, what are you thinking? Let's look at some of the art, of course, because we're here and that's part of the fun. I turned almost into the Joker voice there for a moment. I'm not sure why. Think of the fun. So this is going to be 6 issues. They do say it here. I'm glad that they are saying how much things are. I love the fair play on the back of the jacket. It's classic. All the T's. This is the slightly edgy edition. Oh, I like that one. That one's fun. When also with the different looks in the ball, that one's a nice one. Yeah, these are good. These are some nice, fun, solid Mr. Terrific covers. All right, then we have it's the press release where it tells you all the stuff that it's 6 issues, it's limited. He's being revisited dramatically. DC All In. We're still putting DC All In on the titles. Yes, T-Sphere. Thank you. I'm blanking, even though it's the middle of the day. I have no excuses. I can't even say that I'm tired. Oh. Dante Cook, thank you very much. Are we hearing a Mr. Terrific video in the near future? Probably not in the near future, but he is someone that I think it would be fun to talk about for sure because he's so interesting. And you have the different eras, but knowing me, I'd be like, let's go back to the original golden age, Mr. Terrific, and start from there. It would be 3 hours long. Oh, let me see if there's any other quotes. No, not too much. We're good. Yeah. Those are the main things that I pulled up because I was just doing a quick look-see for what's out there. And again, there was one other one that I wanted to talk about, but the embargo got pushed back till a bit later. So another time. But what do you think about the stuff that's coming down the pipeline? What are you reading more of now? Are you reading more Marvel currently, DC, indies? What indies are you taking a look at? I see James Allard is saying, I like The Last Geiger. I'm still definitely all in on the Ghost Machine universe as well, which I'm finding very fun. There's going to be another Hyde Street short story coming from Lamont McGee, and I'm interested to see that one as well. I like the kind of format that Hyde Street has a lot. As I mentioned in the videos, it's very Twilight Zone horror anthology esque. So that's a lot of fun. Let's see. I'm seeing Change the World is saying, reading Magic Solo Run. I instantly flashed to the cover that Amanda has that she showed on the last stream that we did together. I see lots of Marvel this week. Phoenix Gundam is saying, oddly reading more late 80s Judge Dredd comics. Well, there's definitely always a lot of Judge Dredd to look back upon. I have a bunch of the volumes, but I have to catch up with my collecting of that. It's been quite a while since I've added to it. I should. It's fun to have them all in order. Lord knows what's still in print at this point, though, because it has been a while. Jen Sorry is saying Challengers of the Unknown. Llama saying I'm binging Spider-Man 2099. Oh, did you get the Omnis? Like, because there were a couple of really nice big Omnis that came out. Oh, I see they dropped the Batman versus Yakuza, Batman Ninja versus Yakuza release date and stuff. I keep forgetting that that is happening, but it is indeed happening. I'm just quickly checking to see if anything happened. I'm like, ooh, did anything happen over lunch? Probably not, because it's lunchtime. Not so much, but it has been a heavy week of just in general releases and a lot of fun things to get to. Yes. Let me just pull this up. Yeah, Enzo is saying that Rook Exodus is returning in the spring. It is. I'm looking forward to it. No, I'm really looking forward to it. Oh, as mentioned when we were talking with Conan, something that I also read, but when we were talking with Amanda, this how many X books there are. Which ones are you reading? I'm just curious what you're keeping up with. Oh, there's a new there's a serial killer book coming out that I saw that I'm interested in with art by Daniel Hilliard. Now I need to find it because I'm like I can't just like tease people with that. That's me typing dramatically. I actually saw an article about it on Forbes of all places. There we go. I was a fashion school serial killer, which is something that I'm low-key intrigued by. It's coming in April, and it just sounds a little macabre and interesting. Oh, Uncanny Sweet 97 is saying that this Gwen stuff is next level silly. You feel like you just need to let the dead rest. Oh, Chemdog is saying I just rewatched your Streets of Poison video. It's been a while. Isn't that like that's an era? Oh, this is definitely a time. The infamous Mike Manhattan is asking thoughts on Ryan Murphy adapting the comic book The Beauty. I'm very curious on how that's going to turn out. I was really into The Beauty back in the day and I fell off, and there wasn't a real specific reason why, but I remember when it was first coming out, I was really into it. I'm curious how they will adapt that and how it will come across, or if it's going to end up in kind of the uglies situation where some of the meaning was lost in the changeover of medium. It'll be interesting to see. The Beauty. Okay, so The Beauty is this world where there's this like sexually transmitted disease that makes people beautiful, but it's also burning them out. But because of the beauty aspect, it's something that some people like are actually attempting to get. And there's also a crime following a crime element to it. And again, I'm saying that very loosely because I would need to go back and reread it. Because again, I just remember that I was really into it. Now I'm like, I should go back and reread that. James Allard is saying Cruel Universe became Cruel Kingdom. It did indeed. It did indeed. I'm still enjoying all of the EC like type revival things. Daryl Davis is just saying, I don't want Ryan Murphy to do it. Is it because of American Horror Story? What is it? What put you off? Where did you fall off the train? Weapon X-Men did launch today. Oh my goodness, I forgot about that. Ah, BNB is saying Knights by Wyatt Kenny is going to be animated. We are still in the era of a lot of things. There are a lot of things coming down the pipeline. It's definitely a good time if you were looking for some of the more obscure adaptations that you weren't sure were going to happen, because there are a lot of them that are coming. Let me make sure. Do do do. There we go. I feel that we didn't do enough Marvel because Marvel only got one. So now I'm looking. I'm just like, is there anything else besides Dark Dark Gwenpool? And then I just see a picture of the leader kissing someone. We've come to the end. There we go. I know that there's the new Dynamite Kids imprint that I think is fun and cute. And yes, Paw Patrol will be a part of it. Yes, I did see that Emma Frost is going to be getting a series, which does not surprise me. They've been just doing minis for pretty much every female character over on the X line. So it's almost the point where I'm like, who's being excluded? Who have we not put in at this point? We need to, because if anybody misses out at this time, it's just gonna be like, oh, so they're not good enough. But there's going to be about 100 Emma Frost covers. There's going to be so many of those. They're going to be so so thirsty. This is someone saying Jubilee, Firestar. There'll be more. You know that they'll be announcing more for sure. Oh, Ben Chan is saying Karma. That Karma needs to get a book. See, there were people who were missing out. Ah, yes, the Mystique mini did end as well. There will be cake. There'll be cake on the cover. We'll see if there's cake on the interior. It varies. There's cake on the interior of Rogue and the Savage Land. Issue 2 of that comes out the 26th. I was worried it was gonna be another one of those times where I was like gonna have to say time of recording a lot, and then it came out the same day I dropped it, just because I got sick again while I was editing it. But no, we made it. We made it before the drop point. I am very curious how that's going to end up, because I must admit, because of all the furor surrounding it, I'm curious about how they're gonna handle the romantic elements, or if they're going to touch them or not touch them, whether that's going to make it retroactively better or worse. I'm so intrigued as to what's going to go on with that, and what they're going to do with like beefing up Zaladain and the like. Well, I'm just glad it's fun to say her name, so that's always nice. Maybe at the end I'll need to just do a recap comparison, like how does it slot in. Sometimes I feel that urge with a lot of the throwback books, in terms of that Marvel are doing. Like, how well does it actually go in? Because of course it can't. I say of course there are some that may be seamless, but so far there's always like a little thing here or there. But some go slot in way better than others. Dante, thank you very much. I've been really enjoying all the solo X-Men runs. I was praying for an Emma solo run to happen. It's me. I'm the problem. You got to go out and get every single cover now. When you're reviewing it, you can add a little note like, whoever next, please. Ben Chan is saying the Rognito trigger is real. Kings of New York is asking, what are your top 5 indie comics? That's a harder question than one may anticipate, because it can change. I'd say off the top of my head, no, Furor. I saw on the side, Furor. It's a word. Black Science, Astro City, Tom Strong. Indies. Are we going of like all time? I'd give those as 3 that I really like, but I feel like the other 2 need to be floating, because there's so many indie things that I enjoy. What are other people's favorite indie works? Like, those are the ones that have to be on it no matter what. But in terms of some of the others, they feel a bit more like they could rotate for me. Now I'm trying to think, 'cause I've read a lot of indie things over the years. I Does Tom Strong count? I mean, it was initially under another imprint, and then it got folded in. See, that's the thing. Now you have to get into, like, what is an indie comic? I mean, Witchblade is something that I reread a decent amount from back in the day. Well, I'm seeing some people say now they're naming theirs. Oh, yeah, Max. Max is good. Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, that's another one that I always come back to. I'm like, my favorite though, it's one I like, but it's something that definitely comes up a lot in terms of when it's time to reread something. The Crow. The Crow is good. Ah, The Darkness. I never asked for The Darkness. I reread Witchblade more than The Darkness. Mm. Saga, not for me. Not for me. I wouldn't put Saga on there for me personally. A History of Violence or The History of Violence. This is something that can change. I don't know about anybody else, but, lots of times my, like, things will change. I do like Invincible. I mean, it's behind me over there. People are asking about it. Like, that's one of the ones that you can actually see. This, like, Sweet Tooth is over there, but Sweet Tooth can be a bit you have to be in the mood. You have to be in the right mood to tackle, Sweet Tooth. Yeah, I need to get the Love and Rockets compendiums actually. I saw them at the store the other day and it was one of those things where it was like, "Oh, another time, but I see you." I see you. I did enjoy Irredeemable. James Allard is saying Irredeemable and Incorruptible. Irredeemable was something I really liked up until about the halfway point, and then I still enjoyed it, but not as much on the other end of it. I like Seven to Eternity too. Now I'm just seeing all I'm like, "Oh, these are all comics that I enjoyed reading." James Allard is just saying Brubaker and Phillips, just in general. There are a lot of choices there for that duo because they've made a lot of works together. Fatal? Fatal, I think, I would have to put on there for me. I really, really like Fatal. Hero County? Harrow County is also a lot of fun. I'd say Harrow County is worth a read, especially in the horror outing. I really like Something is Killing the Children. I know that like, I almost feel like, is that mainstream? Because it had so much, acclaim and success, but Chew. I loved Chew. I made a video on Chew back when Alex Combs is saying Chew. Back when I used to do more of the indie recommends. Oh, Chew was fun. Mm, Let's see. Some people are Spawn at this I don't know, has Spawn crossed over to the other side of being mainstream at this point? Parker. Oh, Parker Darwin Cook's Parker is really good. ChemDog has put that out there. That's something that I would love to talk about. Parker is really good. Lady Killer is fun, but I don't know if I'd put it as, like, one of my favorites, but now I just really wanna talk about Parker, and those books are absolutely gorgeous. They are so nice as one can imagine, and those can get a little brutal and dark at points. Now people are debating, like, how they feel about where Spawn belongs at this point. Oh, the Spawn movie. I kind of have a soft spot for the Spawn movie. It's it's something. It's certainly something. Yeah, as one can see, like, if anybody is looking for recommendations for things that they may not have heard of, this side chat, there's just so much there. It's just such a thriving art form. Even despite everything that's going on and with the distribution, all those kind of things, there's still so much cool stuff happening, especially if you start to bring in all of the web comic space and how that's also starting to, get its own publications, like Heartstopper, Lore Olympus, Everything's Fine, all of those kind of things. Common sense, thank you very much. Since Mr. Terrific is getting a mini series because of the Superman movie, you think Guy Gardner will get a mini? It will please the mutual Kenny Porter best. Well, I mean, they're doing so much Green Lantern stuff already. Maybe Guy can just have, a main plot. He can just be part of it. He could, because they're bringing up a whole bunch of the lanterns. But it would, I mean, maybe he can lead a book again. There was a time when we had that, so who knows? Who knows where we could go with that? I saw Shirtless Bear Fighter come up from Phoenix Gundam, and then all I thought of was my boyfriend is a bear. It's always lurking at the back of my brain, waiting to come up at a moment's notice. Just if somebody mentions the word bear, then it's going to come up. I still go back to Book Riot to this day, looking at their lists just because that's where I found it. I'm like, you gave me that rec that one time, and it was so glorious that I need to see if there's anything that was just so interesting to talk about. Oh, Mecha Shadow is asking, my boyfriend is a bear. Yeah, that's a graphic novel that we covered about a girl who dates a bear, not a metaphorical bear or anything, a bear, like an actual bear. Oh, very fun. Let me see what all of you are saying on the side. Rachel's like, I just recently donated my copy of My Boyfriend is a Bear. Ah, there was another one that I almost read. I think it was the Grilled Cheese Princess or something like that. Shirtless bear fighter fighting my boyfriend is a bear. I just saw someone up there saying, "How is your day going?" It's going well. I hope everybody else's is going well as well. This has definitely been a pleasant way to spend a lunch break. I just wanted to pop on and do a quick thing and see how all of you enjoyed or didn't enjoy it. What do you think? Is this the kind of thing that you wouldn't mind doing more often? Is this better than midnight or just different? Is it just a different vibe in general? Because as mentioned at the top of the stream, I'm not sure how often I'll be able to stream at night anymore. But this is nice. It's very relaxed. It's very chill. Common sense. Thank you very much. Flavor Girls is good. Science Saru should animate it. So that's a recommendation for Flavor Girls out there. Thank you, Tevia. Tevia's saying, I say do what you want to do. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Doing it during the day would mean that we could do it a bit more often and catch up on some of the news, do a bit more dramatic readings, which are always fun. And you get so many of the great quotes through some of these different articles and releases right as they're happening. And then over time, they just kind of get lost. Some of them fall into the void. Sometimes you go back years later and they're just gone, and that's always sad because some of them nobody bothers to archive, unfortunately. King of New York is saying, just do it. That's right. Was the Kifness say, don't let your memes be dreams. Comic Crackle, thank you very much. Popping in on a lunch break. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. You too. Oh, it's that time. But I do need to pop back and get back to work, back to the editing, back to the scripting, back to what's happening. Preview. We finally have the interview that I've been editing for a while, but I keep getting sick, but it's coming. That'll be coming early next week. And then we're finally going to tackle the Battle of the Superheroes episode in its entirety. And that should be later this week. So I'm very much looking forward to it. So thank you very much for everybody who was able to pop in and join. As always, I will leave this up so people who came in late can check it out later or what have you. And as ever, enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, and there'll be more videos as always coming soon. So have a great one. Bye, everyone.